And in 98 days, Ghanaians will be heading towards the polls. President John Mahama will be seeking to extend his tenure for 4 more years, while the opposition MPP Nana Akufo-Addo offers a promise of hope to Ghanaians in his 3rd term bid for the presidency. Now, despite the internal wrangling of the Convention People's Party, leadership of the party says it remains resolute to cause an upset in the upcoming polls. The PPP has a message of job creation. However, it seems to be catching on quick among the electorate as the party seeks to send a clear statement of older and more accomplished ones in the country. Hassan Ayerget's All People's Congress and Ikriadonkos Ghana Freedom Party are but a few of the many smaller parties seeking not to just add to the numbers but fight for the country's 3rd political force. Stay with your election headquarters as we bring you the best coverage of events from now till the winner of the polls is announced and sworn into office. Join us on television, radio, online and via mobile as we deliver to you the most current and up-to-the-minute election-related stories. Remember to be a part of our political discourse with the Hastings Election Headquarters across all social media platforms. Now, while allegations have been made by the outcoming moderator of the Presbyterian Church, Reverend Professor Emmanuel Mate, about attempts by some politicians to gag him from making public comments.
Politicians have tried all means, all means, to muzzle me, to get me, but they can't.
His comment has generated mixed reactions as many condemn such acts, especially as the country warm up for the December polls. But Reverend Mate says he will not be bought by money.
Came to my house with fat envelope, $100,000, not cedis. These people were lucky. I did not have big dogs in my house, else I would have released the dog.
Explaining though the Presbyterian Church does not support any political party, he did not mince words in cautioning the Electoral Commission to be very tact in their operations in the upcoming elections.
We cannot ignore the numerous hiccups that cast doubtful clouds over the Electoral Commission's performance during the past several months in relation to the production of a credible voters register.
Question remains, what role do leaders of churches play in Ghanaian politics to think that a political party will give out all these goodies just to pull them to their sides? We'll be finding out from the theologian. We'll also gauge the mood of some political analysts on this matter. This is today's big story. My name is Aishi Ryan. Now, Reverend Mate at a press conference dismissed suggestions that the church supports a political party. According to him, the church does not and will never support any political party. His comments is in reaction to criticisms after he declared the church's support for the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Akufo-Addo, and this was after the presidential candidate sought the support of the church during its 16th General Assembly. Reverend Mate says the Presbyterian Church will not sit down for newer churches and political parties to mess up the country, adding so many attempts to get him to one political side will never work. We can listen to him now.
We acknowledge the efforts of the government, the Electoral Commission, the political parties, and Ghanaians in general to advance the cause of democracy through transparent, free, and fair elections in December. The Presbyterian Church of Ghana, however, urges the Electoral Commission to tread cautiously on all matters relating to this year's general elections. As the 2016 elections draw closer, it may be helpful to remember how close the nation came to disaster after the 2012 elections, and to recognize that peace has to be engineered on all fronts. We cannot ignore the numerous hiccups that cast doubtful clouds over the Electoral Commission's performance during the past several months in relation to the production of a credible voters register. We only hope that the Commission will live up to its responsibility as a transparent, accountable, and credible institution. The Presbyterian Church of Ghana does not belong to any party. And the Presbyterian Church of Ghana does not support any party. The Presbyterian Church of Ghana is in existence before all political parties came. And I want to say this. We have seen governments over governments. All governments that come to rule our dear nation, we partner, Presbyterian Church of Ghana partner them. Let me say this, and please let this be heard loud and clear. At the moment, the Presbyterian Church of Ghana is partnering NDC. When they speak, they shake the foundation. And it is only the church that will address meaningfully the canker going on. And they want to silence all credible voices. Now, today, we will reveal everything to you. This question has, direct relation with the pronouncements of Reverend Professor Marty. Let me tell you why people do not want Professor Marty to talk. Listen, they have tried, politicians have tried all means, all means to muzzle me, to get me, but they can't. They come with bribes, fat envelope, $100,000. Listen. I want everybody to listen. Politicians came to my house with fat envelope, $100,000, not cedis, dollars, and also with the promises that, if you keep quiet, we will give you a house at Trazaco with swimming pool. You know what? We will give you 4-wheel drive. These people were lucky. I did not have big dogs in my house. Else I would have released the dogs to bite them. They have tried all means to muzzle me. They couldn't, and I tell you they can't. And you know what? I will speak today, I will speak tomorrow.
Some interesting comments from the outgoing moderator of the Presbyterian Church. We're joined on the phone line by Dr. Henry Agbenu, who is a theologian. Good evening to you. Thanks for your time on today's big story.
Good evening, madam.
Doc, how does all of these come across to you, that the latest target of politicians are men of God or leaders of churches to do their political bid?
Thank you very much. It's nothing new at all. It is not something peculiar to Ghana. Indeed, the church is supposed to be the prophetic voice of society. And the church must be able to point out the ills of society and try to address these ills. And unfortunately, when the church is doing its bidding, it is trying to, in other words, when the church is trying to discharge its mandate, some political figures, political parties feel threatened because it does not benefit them in a way that they want. And so it is very common all over the world for politicians to want to silence members of the church who are vocal in pointing out the ills of society. Some even are killed. Some are framed up and jailed. Some are castigated. And so it is nothing new. I mean, that is how it is a dangerous thing in our part of the world, and I believe the world over, when you want to stand for the truth, point out the truth, and try to draw attention to what is wrong and to seek solutions to them.
Well, I'm not a Christian, Doc, but from the little I have read about Christianity, leaders of churches are not supposed to be engaged in active politics, correct?
Yes, that is one side of the opinion, one side of the debate. And it is pragmatic that leaders of churches should not or must try to avoid being actively political, because they lead a flock made of all manner of people with all manner of political affiliations. And so to be able to create the avenue for all people to approach them when they are in need, they are supposed to be as neutral as possible. It is, I think, ethically problematic when a church leader declares openly his support for a particular political organization or association, when we have members of the church or that congregation who also belongs to opposing political association.
Right.
And so it is just prudent that leaders of the churches should try as much as possible to be neutral when it comes to political activity. That does not mean, though, that they don't have preferences. They do. But they exercise that with discretion, such that they don't offend the sensibilities of those who do not belong to the same political party with them.
Well, you earlier on admitted that this is not new. In fact, it's something that has been happening. But interestingly, the outgoing Presbyterian moderator, Reverend Marty, says he refused the bribe offered him. But what we do not know is how many other leaders of churches who have been approached and whether they accepted the bribes or not. What should be our guide, especially as the December polls stare us in the face?
You see, what is creating the problem, and when you listen to the debate on the activities of religious leaders, as far as their political pronouncements are concerned, the argument is not that they should not be talking. But I think the argument is that they should be objective and also be seen to be saying the same things regardless of which political party is in power. But the observation among some people is that it appears some political leaders find their voice only when a particular party is in power.
Right.
Whilst when the other party is in power, they don't see anything wrong. They are silent. As if nothing evil is happening in the society.
Right.
That is the problem. The church must have its voice regardless of which political party is in power. But when it becomes evident that you are only condemning a particular party and praising the other party or other parties, that is where the problem lies. I don't think I have any guide to give you as to how to be able to determine who is genuine or who is not genuine. I mean, you can find that from their pronouncement. Are they consistent in their condemnation of the ills today, regardless of the party that is in power, or they condone the ills of tomorrow because of the political party that is in power? Neutrality, objectivity, and consistency in condemnation, I think, is what is needed.
Well, many thanks to you. Harry Agbanu is a theologian. He's also a lecturer of religion. Now, let's move on to elections, where Reverend Professor Mate urged the Electoral Commission to tread cautiously on all matters relating to this year's elections. We can listen to him once more.
We acknowledge the efforts of the government, the Electoral Commission, the political parties, and Ghanaians in general to advance the cause of democracy through transparent, free, and fair elections in December. The Presbyterian Church of Ghana, however, urges the Electoral Commission to tread cautiously on all matters relating to this year's general elections. As the 2016 elections draw closer, it may be helpful to remember how close the nation came to disaster after the 2012 elections, and to recognize that peace has to be engineered on all fronts. We cannot ignore the numerous hiccups that cast doubtful clouds over the Electoral Commission's performance during the past several months in relation to the production of a credible voters register. We only hope that the Commission will live up to its responsibility as a transparent, accountable, and credible institution.
Well, we can do some analysis and speak with David Agbe. He is the Executive Director of the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. Good evening to you, David Agbe. Thanks for your time on today's big story.
Yes, good evening, Aisha.
Dave, so what role do church leaders play in Ghana's politics? To come to think that politicians would want to bribe them to bring them to their side?
Aisha, I must say that, various churches have played a significant role in our national development and in politics. It is quite difficult to, at a point, separate, church from politics. From even those days, before Jesus Christ was even born, there has been this debate around how churches and politics, how we can dichotomize between them. And for so long a time, such a debate has been there. But I must say, in our context here, churches has played a significant role in our national development, especially, some of the Orthodox churches like Adventist Church, Presby, Methodist, Roman Catholic, and all other Orthodox, churches has actually played a significant role in national development. You can talk about hospitals, you can talk about, schools, infrastructure, you can talk about so many things that, churches has actually played their active role in our national development and into politics. So churches have a significant role, to play in our national, day life. Don't forget that every Ghanaian, one way or the other, do attend church or mosque or a traditional believer.
And so from your point of view, Dave, why on earth will any political party want to pull any church leader to their side?
Yes, Aisha, if you are asking me this specific question to what Professor Mate has said, I must say, first of all, that I do sincerely respect Professor Marty very well. Somebody who is a theologian, I do have enough respect for him. But these allegations that he has made, first of all, I am not a lawyer, but I've read law and understand that in basic law, I mean, a promise does not make a contract valid. And for somebody to say that a politician has promised him of $100,000 and 4x4 vehicle to shut him down, I could say that it is a hoax because of the fact that he has not been able to provide anything of evidential value that we can trust Professor Marty about. I mean, if he has to come out clearly to indicate that this politician has come to, promise him, then we can take his view seriously, but without providing any evidence.
But earlier on, I spoke with Dr. Harry Agbenu, who agrees or admits that this is not the first time this is happening. It's been happening. Whether or not the church leaders accept the bribes is a conversation on another level. But as far as I'm concerned, church leaders are not supposed to engage in active party politics. With this new trend, should we regard it as a growth in our democracy, or this must be seen as a not and therefore must be condemned?
Yes, actually, let me say that, Professor Marty and other churches, one way or the other, politicians can find a way of bribing him because they know that those people do have, followers. And I must say that a leader who does not have, followers is just like taking a stroll within his own backyard. And so I do sincerely believe that Professor Marty, do have a lot of followers, having been a Presbyterian, a moderator, and so many positions. He has a lot of followers. So I will not be surprised that a politician could say that he wants to bribe him. However, if Professor Marty is telling the whole country that, I know Professor Marty very well. He has been talking, corruption in this country. And so if a politician has come to him, promising him or trying to bribe him of the fact that he has to shut down, he has to mellow down and all that, so that he will be given a 4x4 vehicle and, $100,000 without Professor Marty acting, then I should say that it is a hoax, because I do know him very well, that he is somebody who speaks against corruption. So if somebody has come to you telling you that, I want to more like put you down or try to control you to speak the truth, then I would tend to question Professor Marty Newman. And so but the prof says he rejected it. Of course, you never know. You could try your luck. So maybe the politicians tried their luck, but it didn't work. That's what he's saying. He says he didn't accept for that reason, any human being can give such a reason that one way or the other he has been bribed and he rejected it. But I think that Professor Marty is beyond that. And so I thought that he could have reported this matter to the police, because he's somebody who has been talking against corruption. And so if somebody wants to bribe you without you acting, then it suggests that you have something to also answer. You have a significant question to answer. And so I don't expect my professor to talk like that. I thought that he could have provided Ghanaians with a certain level of evidence rather than saying that he...
Well, I'm sure now that you're asking for evidence, maybe he would provide evidence. But that's where we would have to end our conversation. That's where time will allow us. Many thanks to you, David Agbe, on today's big story. We're extremely grateful. And that's where we draw the curtains on today's big story. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Good evening.